Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you all about how to use a reading journal, how I use my reading journal, what it is and why you should keep one. So first of all, let's jump in and answer the main question, what is a reading journal? So reading or book journaling, I call it both, is an extremely popular offset of bullet journaling, which I also do. So it is basically a bullet journal to keep track of anything book related. It is a place where you can keep record of insights, observation, lessons or thoughts with anything to do with what you've been reading. I also find it really useful for keeping track of feelings and being intentional with my reading. It helps me discover a lot more about what I like, also just to remember the books I've read. This is my book journal. It is a black limon notebook. I've been using it since January 2022, and as you can see, I've decorated the front with stickers, which I absolutely love. I have some stickers from Redbubble. This one is a Ice Planet Barbarian sticker. This is an off-canvas sticker, and then this one here, I'm not sure if you can see it, is a sticker I printed myself. It is a From Blood and Ash sticker. Okay, so quickly before we get into the in-depth of the reading journal, I'm going to talk about how I track my reading. I personally have a Notion page where I keep track of like day-to-day and sort of more flexible reading thoughts. So this is where I put books when I start them. I have a bunch of categories that I fill out. I'd love to do a full video about this if you guys are interested. But if I have any thoughts whilst reading the book, I can put them in the Notion page. Or for example, when I'm looking at like POC representation in books, this is stuff I can update as I discover more about the story. This is basically where I write everything out and make sure it's correct and collect statistics before they go into my reading journal. Okay, and then obviously everything surrounds this reading journal. All the work I do beforehand is to make sure this is correct and up to date. So let's talk about the pages I have in my journal. So my first page is a written reading log. I have a quote from George R.R. Martin, and this is just where I can collect all the titles of the books I've read, the date I finished the book, and the star rating I gave it. Then if we flip over to my second spread, this is my book cover spread. It basically has the same purpose as my last spread, but it is just a way for me to visually represent the books I've read. This is a 3-page spread, and it just has all the covers and space for 65 books. I then have a DNF page. This is for the books I did not finish, and it has the book title, the percentage I made it through, and just why I DNF'd it. It's just nice and easy. I then have one of my favorite pages, which is my 5-star favorite spread. This is similar to the book covers page, but I wanted to have a collection of all my absolute favorite books I read in one year. So some books I'll rate 5 stars, but they won't make it onto this page because I feel like a 5-star favorite is kind of a feeling. It's also interesting to have these all collected together because I like to see if there's any similarities. Then I have a book bingo spread. This is just for fun, but it's a really nice way to visualize any reading goals I have. Then I have my reading bracket, which is probably my favorite page in the setup. I think this is a really beautiful spread, but I basically just pick a favorite from every month and then they battle it out, and it's just a different way to see what my favorite book of the year was. Then I have my 2022 TBR. These are just 6 books that I wanted to make a priority to read this year, and I've read 4 of these so far. Then I have my statistics table. I mentioned before that I really like to collect statistics about my reading. End of every month I go through and collect all the stats and add them in here, and this is where the interplay between my Notion and my journal comes in, because I use the table on my Notion to get averages, collect numbers, and then I visualize it all here. Then I have my ratings table. This is another statistics visualization thing, but I go through and I collect the ratings and I see how many like 3 stars I read, how many 5 stars, etc. Then I have my CAWPILE system page. This is the book rating system I use. I will link the creator down below who made it. She is really good. I believe her name is Book Roast, but this is basically just an explanation for me and a guide for when I'm rating my books. And then I have a really nice collage just setting up the vibes of this journal. I think these pages together perfectly describe my reading habits because it's like numbers and stats and very organized, and then aesthetics. I love to keep track of both these things, and the spreads at the beginning of my journal, which I've just spoken about, are basically all the numbers and stats and stuff like that. And then what we're going to get into now is the aesthetic part of my bullet journal. So that list should have given you some ideas of spreads you can do in your journal. There is tons more, and if you guys want to see a video on just a big list of book idea spreads, then I can definitely do that. But I do also have a setup for this journal that I did at the beginning of the year, which you guys can check out. And also keep an eye out because in December or January I will be uploading the setup for my 2023 reading journal. But now let's get into how I use my reading journal and how you might want to for when you finish a book and how I record that. So what I do once I finish a book is I write the review onto my Notion page. I refer back to the CAWPILE system to see if there's anything important I want to include in my reviews. To quickly explain CAWPILE. CAWPILE is characters, atmosphere, writing, plot, intrigue, logic, enjoyment. CAWPILE. And you'll have to watch Book Roast's video, but I rate each of these things out of 10 to come up with a total star rating. So if I rated characters a 10, that might signal to me that I want to talk about characters in my review. If I rated, say, atmosphere like a 3, then I might want to talk about why I didn't enjoy that in my review. I then go onto Pinterest and I make a collection of images that represent the aesthetic of the book, the atmosphere, any plot points, or for example how I visualize the characters, especially if I have like a fan cast for them. This this is one of my favorite bits. I then print these off and I create a collage in my journal. I might also include fan art or maps, especially if it's a fantasy series, and I also love including quotes if anything particularly spoke to me, but I do always put the title of the book and the star rating. And then I leave space in the middle to write the review for my Notion page. I will show you a few pages and you can see where I've left the space but haven't written it in. I am a little bit behind on writing the actual reviews in my journal, but you can get the vibes of what it is going to be like and how you might want to set up your reading journal. So I hope this gave you a nice little overview of what is a reading journal, how you might want to use it, and most of all how I use my reading journal. So yeah, let me know any pages that you guys do that I personally don't do down below. I need some ideas for my 2023 journal. I definitely want to add more to this, and like I said, I have a full setup for my reading journal on my page that is linked down below and in the cards, so do check that out. And thank you again so much for watching. If you did like this video, please do like and please do subscribe. I'd love to see you guys next time, and thank you again.